A fatal shooting occurred in the vicinity of Maho Wednesday night. According to confirmed reports, 3 people were shot, including the leader of the Walichi Movement for Change OMC political party and his wife. The wife, unfortunately, did not survive. Additionally, the other person shot during the incident is a member of the OMC. Mr. Arundel and the other victim were transferred to the medical center after receiving medical aid from ambulance personnel.
This was an attempt on my life. Gunshot. I just shoot in my back. I don't know what's going on with my wife. As yet, we don't know what's going on. See, Martin, this is serious. The ambulance people are doing a good job. This is serious, and I hold every political party accountable. Every single one of them accountable to attempt to murder me, the OMC leader. The OMC leader. I'm going to tell you guys the story, what happened. This, I don't got no energy to keep talking. I don't got no energy to give.
Leader of OMC, Olivier Arundel, moments after the shooting on Wednesday night. Detectives were on the scene until late, carrying out their investigation into this unfortunate incident.
As a Central Voting Bureau, we would like to take a minute to acknowledge the incidents of yesterday evening and send our condolences to the leader of the OMC party and the candidates and members of that party during this difficult time. And we'll await the outcome as justice prevails in this case. In the meantime, as a Central Voting Bureau, we'll proceed as we are required to under the law and ensure again that we have fair, free, and transparent elections this upcoming August 19th parliamentary election.
I submitted the response to the questions posed in the meeting of July 4th last week, Friday. If necessary, I can begin by reading out these responses, and if not, I can briefly summarize the presentation from 2 weeks ago to give context to the MPs as well as to the public on the subject of this meeting. So okay. So let me begin first with a brief summary. So I began my presentation explaining that the TNO report speaks of energy transition within the countries of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin, and that within government, energy policy, and by extension, energy transition falls under the Ministry of TEAD. VROMI, in its role as the ministry in charge of infrastructure, is then responsible for ensuring adequate distribution. Consequently, focus was largely given on providing context to the report based on my experiences in foreign affairs. Support, of course, came from the Policy Department of VROMI as well as the Ministry of TEAD. The presentation was structured into 6 sections. The first section, an explanation as to what was or is TNO. In short, it's an independent research organization in the Netherlands. Section 2, the contracting of TNO with the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate, IZK, to support the Kingdom Climate Agenda. Section 3 focused on the climate agenda and its objectives to address the lack of structural funding to combat the impact of climate change. Section 4 of my presentation of July 4th focused on strategy to secure financing in line with our small island reality, which gave access to the SDA++ and the Groei funds. Section 5 was the challenges in achieving energy transition and the information necessary for the TNO report, which were namely lack of coordinated approach to energy transition, competing and/or contradictory agreements being signed by government, and finally, the lack of critical information from GEBE. Finally, Section 6 of the presentation was on VROMI's role in supporting the transition towards sustainable energy in line with the National Development Vision and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Madam Chair, I will now proceed with your indulgence in responding to the questions posed by the honourable members of Parliament during the meeting of July 4th. From MP Sarah Westcott-Williams, there was a question number 1, which she asked, update on the funding modalities for renewable energy. The response is, funding for the Caribbean parts of the kingdom is secure, and access to the different modalities will come online in various phases between 2025 and 2026. Question number 2 from the Member of Parliament, Westcott Williams, is the energy policy of 2014 currently being updated? My response, from the Ministry of TEAT, the updating of the energy policy has not officially begun, but discussions are currently ongoing with BTP, Bureau of Telecommunications and Post, to have them established as an energy regulator. Once this agreement is reached, BTP will come online as a member of the Standing Energy and Climate Committee, and focus will be given to reviewing the policy. Important to note is that the baseline established in 2014 is still valid. Question 3 from MP Westcott Williams: where does VROMI stand with a plan for alternative energy? As indicated in the presentation, at the national level, VROMI is not in charge of alternative energy. This is part of the mandate of the Ministry of TEAT. However, to support the transition, VROMI is busy finalizing the implementation of a new building code and the zoning plan. With the zoning plan, we can, for example, outline technical regulations for the use of solar panels. Moreover, VROMI can support the transition by amending building permits for large developments to have a percentage of their energy needs come from renewable sources. Question number 4 from MP Westcott Williams: what exactly is needed to realize net metering? And this is quite a long answer, so please bear with me. What needs to be done can be divided into legislative and technical measures. Legislative. Net metering is a billing mechanism that allows consumers who generate their own electricity using renewable energy sources, such as solar panels, to feed the excess electricity they produce back into the grid. This system enables customers to receive credit for what they generate, and they can add this back to the grid. However, because the law and the concession indicate that in principle, adding to the grid or in general, supplying electricity is forbidden unless there is a concession signed with the government. This concession is currently with GEBE. The exception in the law is made when the electricity is used for own consumption, so individual, residential, small use. Therefore, in short, with the current law, everyone seeking to take part in net metering would, in theory, have to have a separate concession with government. On a technical side, from a technical standpoint, the grid would have to be updated to handle fluctuations in energy production associated with decentralized solar energy production. The TEANO report mentions installing synchronous condensers to offset those fluctuations. MP Westcott Williams' 5th question: can you provide information on a plan that GB had for a solar park in town? The ministry is aware of 3 solar projects. The first, solar roofs, were proposed to cover the parking strips on the Walter Nisbet Road, commonly referred to as Pondfield Road, and we have no clear indication at this moment as to why this project never came to fruition. Project number 2, proposal for a solar roof over the APS parking lot adjacent to the government building. Solar park project number 3, solar panels on top of the booths in the festival village. In all 3 cases, there is no clear indication as to why these were not allowed, why these were not followed up on, or why they were stopped by the then administrations. And MP Westcott's 6th and final question: does VROMI inform the developers? In doing the necessary research, we can conclude that there is limited communication with GEBE when it comes to the permits approved by VROMI. While there is no explicit policy that makes this consultation a requirement, it is important to remember that GEBE's concession agreement requires notification to GEBE once the development reaches a certain level of consumption. Moreover, the responsibility of the Minister over Infrastructure and Spatial Planning should, to a responsible minister, trigger questions as to if existing infrastructure can support physical development. I'll repeat this again. While there is no explicit policy that makes this consultation, that is, between government and VROMI, a requirement, it is important to remember that GEBE's concession agreement requires notification to GEBE once a development reaches a certain level of consumption. Moreover, the responsibility of the minister over infrastructure and spatial planning should, to a responsible minister, trigger questions as to if existing infrastructure can support physical development.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
Madam Chairley, as a legislator, I know that we are responsible to create legislations, amend legislation, and also these legislations usually have research attached to it and information that backs up whatever we are changing or creating. I've read through the documents that were provided, and I still have a hard time accepting this amendment as is. And I also understand that the reasons that was given. One of the reasons that was given that was also stated here today was because it's already done to certain high council of states. The ombudsman was mentioned, the chamber audit chamber, council of advice. I wasn't part of those discussions then. I wish I was, but I have a different feeling about. I have a different opinion. And I'm part of the discussions now, so that's why I'm going to voice my opinion today. In addition, I also read in the documents that it is stated that the life expectancies have also increased and the standard of living. That's also one of the reasons that was given in one of the documents. Now, my question is as follows. Because in that same document, when I do my own research up to 2021, it also showed that life expectancy is actually declining due to lack of eating healthy. So my question is, what is the life expectancy for St. Martin? Because these reports are quite broad. Probably same information is from Europe, from Africa. What is the life expectancy of St. Martin? Madam Chair Lady, what makes it difficult for me as well, and I'm going to ask this question as well, is when we make changes to this amendment and have the age up to maximum 75, what message are we sending to those that are 55 to 65 years younger? Or even 70 younger? What message are we sending to them, those that are experienced that are here today? We have to be careful. I think St. Martin is one of those places that we are, we hold on to things like it's ours. Like we don't want to let it go. We have a problem in St. Martin when it comes to passing the baton. And if it is, for example, and I can understand that it is a challenge finding those between the age of 60 to 65, that are interested in these functions. But I think instead of adjusting the age to 75, I think what we should look at is find a way to make it more appealing for those that are pensioners that are 60 to 65 or even reaching 70, that they are more willing now to join these high councils. Because for me, I want to know, for example, as well, how many persons now are between the age of 70 to 75 that are waiting this position?
The first one is that you made some statement about the life expectancy. In the life expectancy approach, there are two angles into this. If you follow the graphic of people, the lifespan of people, we are getting now to the edge of the maximum that we're getting with the guidance of science, of medicine, for example. But on the other side, what we do see with the improvement of medical health care, that we see that we can maintain people in a longer phase of that life expectancy in a good quality of life. And that is the shift that worldwide you're seeing, that it's not that we don't reach the age, but we reach the age in a good level of quality of health in individual cases. That is the expression that I made in my introductory notes that I make.
Prime
Secondly,
Minister?
statistically, you asked
Prime
me...
Minister,
Pardon?
if I just may interject you for one moment.
Yes.
Through the chair, please.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry, I apologize, President.
No problem.
Through the chair, MP Brug, I would like to make a statement, the specific figures for the community of St. Martin. I do not have at hand now, but with the approval of the President of Parliament, I would like to get back to you in writing with the answers on this specific statistic information for country St. Martin. Secondly, you asked a question, Madam Chair, about the amount of members now that are above the age of 70 years. In this case, we have Mr. Boosman is above the age of 70 years. We see a vital gentleman, a vital, very respected citizen of our country, had a great contribution, knowledge and experience to contribute to this integrity chamber. And pure on the base of his age, we are now in the challenge of getting the appropriate persons that meets the profile that we need to fit in the membership of the integrity chamber. Thank you.
Just to echo the sentiments of my colleague that spoke a while ago, MP Brug, whereas I would like to know what message we are sending. For me, quite honest, I've always been transparent with the decisions that I've made as a leader in St. Martin, and if I can't buy something, I definitely can't sell it. I think that we are going down a very, in my humble opinion, dangerous path if we continue to increase these ages, because then for me and how I see it, we are taking away opportunities from others. And as a proponent and as someone that experienced age discrimination in different ways and means, I think that we cannot on one side of our mouth be saying that we are developing and we are providing opportunities for our young people, and not only young people, because in this case it's a more senior function, but also taking it away on one end, and in 2024, passing a legislation that would allow persons to serve up until 75. I've been to several funerals over the last couple of months for several family members, known persons within the community, and as far as I can remember, none of them even reached the age of 70. So with respect to the life expectancy question, I would really, really like the answer to that in the future, as the Prime Minister indicated through you, Madam Chair, that he will provide that in writing. But I cannot support something like this because for me, it's not sending a good message, and it's not what I've been championing over the last 7 years. Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chair.
To the presentation, I also reviewed the documents, and although I understand the stance of my colleague MPs, I do believe that it will not take away from the younger generation, because what the law is clearly stating is that the age limit will go up. So if there will be younger candidates that can fulfill that position, I do believe that they will not be involved in that. So I do think that seeing what we're currently facing and also what was brought forward, that the current situation at hand is that we don't have younger people applying for that function, that we are now at risk that those functions will not be fulfilled. So that's how I am reading it, and I am going to support what was brought forward, because there's clearly a need that the age limit currently goes up, else we will find ourselves in a position that those functions will not be fulfilled. And I don't think that that is the idea. So I encourage everyone that has interest in those positions to apply, but currently there's clearly the need to fulfill on a higher age, to be able to fulfill it until others that are younger apply and are fit for the function. So I will be supporting it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mortality rate on St. Martin is something that I have questioned our Minister of Public Health about. Based on my questions, I have received some information from the ministry, not as detailed as I would have liked it, or maybe not as detailed as it could be, but nevertheless, to me, just from a layman's perspective, it is a worrying trend. And we should really, as a government and a parliament, look at this matter further. I think it was MP Jacobs who referred, and another MP as well, to the issue of a pool. And I think it's extremely important that some type of data bank for our human resource, especially for some of the functions that we talk about, is critical in this context. And just like other countries within the kingdom, also utilize persons from the country who might not be in the country. So I'm talking about our St. Martiners who are abroad and have the necessary knowledge and expertise, that somehow we should also take those into consideration. And again, I plead, like I've done in the past, for some type of a hybrid situation where our expertise that is abroad can be used here locally. And then thirdly, I want to encourage especially young persons who look at functions like these and other functions on boards of government-owned companies and the like, to please utilize whatever possibility there is, and there are possibilities for training in whichever way you can. And it's not, it might sound like, like an easy task on the board of this company or that company. Of course, there are profiles, but in addition to the profiles, there is a need to know more about what one is getting into when it comes to sitting on boards, etc.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
NESC, the National Employment Service Center, and the activities that we have coming up. We have a national job fair that we do every year, and I would like to invite the business community to submit their vacancies and to participate in the job fair. The job fair will be on October 2nd, 2024 at the Alice Convention Center in Madam Estate. We have already secured over, or actually nearly 200 vacancies so far. This job fair, which again is an annual event, has been very successful last year, and we see that it will also be successful this year. We're hoping for it to be bigger and better. And it's our way of getting our local population, the unemployed people, into the job market. Also to assist with people transferring into the job market, so unemployed people, the same NESC, the NESC as it is called, also has employability enhancement workshops. And so we have already had one in July, July 13th to be exact, in St. Peter's, and now we are going to be in Belvedere on August 22nd. It's going to be on a Thursday, so for unemployed people to come, and in the workshop you will learn, job seekers and unemployed will learn from specialists in employment, they will, HR people, etc. They will learn how to fix their resumes, etc., to make them more employable and to make it easier for them to go into the employment. So that's in August. So where they are brand new resumes, they can take those then to the job fair in October, and some people will be hired on the spot. So it's really a bright moment in labor, and we have it every year. And this year we put it earlier in October so that the businesses, since we're a tourism-oriented society, community, the hotels, etc., can have time to train people. So you don't have to have the skills already. They can have time to train you for your jobs before the high season. So that's the thought behind it and having it in October this year.